On today's episode of the Bubs and T Bag Show, the guys solve a multitude of world problems.
It's going to come out of you literally like shit through a goose. And when you wipe, you could use that toilet paper in your hand
to blow your nose
as a napkin afterwards, as a dinner napkin afterwards.
Okay.
There's nothing on it.
Wow.
Nothing. That's what Metamucil can do to a man.
Bubs tells T Bag precisely where he can put his opinion.
So what my point of the story is, besides the cock sucking and the magic
Whereas
wandering,
you, after hours,
you can't
you're
go there.
legitimately looking up trips on how to go to Thailand on a budget.
And T Bag gives a sermon on the current state of affairs. Canada
engages in massive humiliation rituals. They engage of genocide of their own people. That is not an exaggeration. Look into it.
All this and ice cream sundaes coming up.
Hi ho, hi ho. It's off to podcast and we go. Welcome, good morning to the Bubs and T Bag Show, where we talk old Minnesota, old movies, old memories, sometimes even old men.
Dirty old men.
Right. Today.
Silver daddies.
I look outside today here from the window.
Of the Ponderosa studio.
Yeah, the glorious studio. And I say it does look like Minnesota today. There's snow on the ground. We're coffeeing up. It's summer's over, my friend.
Well, this is a coffee show. We're doing the NPR. I got my starfish and coffee, maple syrup and jam going. You know that reference?
No, I don't.
I'm throwing a little Prince at you.
Is that what it is?
A little Prince.
Huh. Thank you for that this morning.
Yeah, he's from Minnesota.
Yeah. He's a good dude. Made some good music.
A funky motherfucker.
Saw like a little video about him yesterday, actually, where apparently him and Michael Jackson didn't totally like get along.
Well, I can probably recall more of that than you, but
they shared a stage at some point.
Well, they might have, but there was an unofficial competition going on, and Prince was a freak. Okay, he sang about women and making love and all that, and in the long haul of it, Thriller album, huge, right? Huge.
Yep.
Purple Rain, huge. Which one's really endured?
I mean,
who's got a body of work?
Well, Thriller, it's tough.
Huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the biggest album in the history of the world.
But you could say Prince won.
Maybe
he lasted. Longer.
He
lasted longer.
Yeah, he did. They both, unfortunately, succumbed to those demons. The drug demons.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I guess
it gets you.
You never expected it from him, but
I agree. I remember when that happened and being very surprised that day when I heard it.
Yeah,
extremely.
He stayed local. He had had his studio here, Paisley Park, Chanhassen, Minnesota.
They're trying to. I mean, it's kind of like a Graceland. I think is what they hope it'll be like in another 20 or 30 years.
Yeah. Well, the guy's got some
I haven't
influence.
been to it.
His range of influence, I think, is greater than Michael Jackson's with other artists.
Yeah, I think, if you play well,
that guy would play every instrument, cut all the tracks, make the albums himself, maybe bring one or two cats in, and then all of a sudden he goes on tour. He'll put a band together that's funky as shit.
Yep.
And then they're just playing what he tells them to play.
Yeah.
I mean, he was probably, up there with a genius. I mean, you got some pretty good geniuses coming out of Minnesota with Dylan, back in the day. And
yeah.
I mean,
I never got into him. Like,
I'm
hardly
surprised
ever.
at that. I figured you'd be if you're you got your little inklings toward the Beatles, I figured you'd be a Dylan guy.
Yeah. I mean, not really.
Well, give Blood on the Tracks a listen.
I've listened. I have. Well, I don't know if I had the CD at some point when I was younger and did listen to it. Everybody had to have that, and they had a phase. I had a phase.
I enjoyed Dylan.
Blonde on Blonde, something like that.
Yeah, but the guy changes so much.
Yeah, I mean his longevity is unquestionable. Bob Dylan's longevity, but the music, I guess, just didn't totally resonate with me. I don't know why.
Oh. Well, you're a Beatles fan. That's probably why.
Yeah.
Your Beatles thing.
I always thought John Lennon.
You thought
Lennon wrote a Bob Dylan song called "Hide Your Love Away."
Okay.
He was like, this was me trying to do a Bob Dylan song.
Well, everybody did.
I think he did it better than Bob Dylan.
Well, Bob Dylan, yeah, right. Bob Dylan would do everybody else's stick too. I mean, he did Arlo Guthrie or Woody Guthrie for a while, then he got into more folk stuff, and then, then he went electric.
He certainly is a Minnesota man.
Yeah.
So he fits into the title of the show.
He does.
Yeah.
Prince, Minnesota man.
An old man.
Yeah, an old man. Michael Jackson, not a Minnesota man. Indiana man.
Gary, I believe.
Yeah. And a big fan. Gary number one. Number one Gary.
Yeah, number one Gary. He's listening. Been talking to him lately. He has been really into pinball.
Yeah, why?
Were we talking about this?
I don't know. Maybe you did. I don't know. You referenced a little pinball. Maybe you can go to a certain arcade or something somewhere and go play pinball.
They're popping up. I mean, they have been for a couple years, but he's getting pretty accomplished at it, too. He's getting better than me. There's a game we play sometimes on PlayStation 5 called Zen Pinball.
Mm-hmm.
If you have, access to a video game console. I know you don't. But some of the listeners who aren't completely covered in gray pubic hair like yourself might.
Well, I go to the rear of the cave and break all the technology and hide like a Luddite.
Right. So Zen Pinball is the physics of the game. There's a lot of real pinball tables. You're obviously just playing with a video game controller, but you get a pretty good feel for it. And he has gotten quite good
at a video pinball.
But he's been venturing out more than me and playing live tables now in South Minneapolis at a few places like in Bloomington.
Live tables. I like that term.
Right. I mean, at real tables.
I'll tell you what.
They're very elaborate now.
I know, but when they were around, like you go to a bowling alley when I was 10 and you'd play pinball and go bowl all day and nobody gave a fuck where you were at. But until
someone took you into a van and molested you.
Well, I was just part of the growing up.
Part of the experience.
Yeah, there was the one guy bowling by himself who would always buy you candy.
Right. Sure.
Hey, you want another quarter for pinball? Just pull on this.
Sure. You guys like the game Asteroids? Me too.
Have you ever heard of Pocket Pool? We'll play as a team. No, but when everywhere was a pinball machine or something, and then Asteroids comes out or Space Invaders, and then people were lined up.
Well, pinball, I mean, I think, it's never really gone away, but it's had moments where it's kind of,
waned.
Been not popular. And several, 10 years ago, it probably wasn't all that popular.
Yeah, it probably just fell back to that deaf, dumb, blind kid.
Right. There was a couple places that still made, tables and things like that. But now it's quite popular again. I kind of got into it about 10 years ago by playing it on the PlayStation.
I remember at a bowling alley, I think that I went to, they had a Kiss one.
Yeah. Well, I think they had an older one in the 80s, and I know for a fact that they have one now that's come out within the last 10 years.
For Kiss?
Yeah. A lot of bands have redone pinball tables now. Kiss, Metallica, Foo Fighters, AC/DC.
Well, Kiss, I mean, they put their brand on everything.
Yeah.
I mean, they were sponsored by Full of Force for a while.
Right.
You get the Ace Frehley fucking condom.
Gene Simmons. There was a licensing kerfuffle that really fucked a lot of things up.
I think they had a brand just called Soiled.
Yeah. Those didn't sell very well from what I remember.
Soiled.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. There's a table in town here called Rush, the band, with Geddy Lee and those guys.
The Space You Invade.
Yeah, and that one I've been practicing up on a little bit. But I discovered there's a few other tables that are within, probably 15, 20 minutes of here.
So besides Magic the Wandering or whatever the fuck card game you were talking about.
After that, I had that one night, and that was all I needed.
I
had a lot of texts from people from that episode
dick in your
saying,
mouth.
hey.
It's like a dick in your mouth.
Don't worry. I also ate a whole bunch of peanut butter and Twix last night.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad.
It's okay, T Bag. A cock in your mouth, it's once.
Well, I didn't have
that. It doesn't
that.
make you a dick
I didn't
sucker.
have that in my mouth.
Oh, okay.
And I won't even say the phrase because it'll be used against me at a later recording.
Cocksucker?
Yes.
Yes.
I won't even utter the phrase.
Cocksucker.
That's not at all what I did.
Just admit one time. It doesn't make you a cocksucker.
What happened was I stayed up a little too late one night when we were going to record a podcast, and I felt shame because I ate too many saltines, too much applesauce,
and too much cock.
Too much money on electronic gambling cards.
All right. So what my point of the story is, besides the cocksucking and the magic
whereas
wandering,
you, after hours,
You can't
You're
go there.
legitimately
No.
looking up trips on how to go to Thailand on a budget. That's what you're looking up.
When I want to be able. Can I use my happenings book over
Yeah,
there?
exactly.
I got a 2-for-1, and that's more than what you can bargain for.
Lady
right?
boys.
We've talked about this rule. It's not chicks with dicks. It's guys with tits.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm not going down that road. I just want a nice pinball.
I know
I
you've
want a
been down
nice
that
pinball
road.
machine. A nice pinball machine.
So my point is, you calling it tables? Is that the in thing to call a pinball machine? I'm going to be on the tables for a while.
I don't think so. Maybe I don't even. No, I think people just. I think they're referred to as tables. I didn't mean it to sound pretentious or anything like that.
Well, isn't like Mortimer's down in Minneapolis, South Minneapolis, on the edge of South Minneapolis,
they
have what's the other game? Foosball.
Yeah, so I haven't been there in a while. I think it might still be open, but they had some really good foosball players at that place.
Yeah.
I remember seeing them play like during some sort of league, and it was impressive.
I got invited last year to go down there and meet some old alumni from Mankato to play some foosball.
Did you go?
No.
No. Yeah. Last time I was there, I don't know, it was probably like 3-4 years ago. They had probably 8 pinball machines there, but they were very top of the line and very well kept. And I'm guessing, if they're still in business, they probably still have them. I know there's a few other places down there that are, they've got 20 or 30 tables. I haven't been to them.
In Minneapolis?
Yeah, in Minneapolis.
Where's that at?
I think it's like in the Lake and Lindale area or something like that. Like I said, I haven't been to them.
I know a woman from that area.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They made them different back then in that area, Bubs,
Our first date was at Delano's.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Good pizza there. I'm guessing that's closed.
Yeah, they went downtown and things changed.
Bummer.
Like everything.
True that. You know what else is changing these days is the fucking Minnesota state flag. Speaking of Minnesota, old Minnesota.
I should have submitted something like with a blue cock on it.
Yeah, it probably would have won.
Yeah.
Or at least been, in contention if you would have said, hey, I'm a disabled indigenous man who's, homosexual and I have one leg, and here's my design. Just a giant Johnson.
Yes.
Surrounded by a lake.
By lakes and a loon. You
With
always got to throw a stupid loon
with the
on
number
there.
10K next to it to denote, that's about probably where we're going. Have you
can't
seen
have-
any of the designs?
A couple of them, yeah. I just kind of whatever. They're becoming more and more neutral. Apparently, the one they've kind of focused in on, it's got a loon and shit on it, and the date of inception for the state of Minnesota, 1858. And apparently, there's people already offended by that because the date 1858 shows that white man is suppressing or oppressing.
Is in charge,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
set the
And there
calendar
were
or something.
treaties that same year where the natives got ripped off. My idea for it was a white one because we are just basically rolling over.
Yeah, right.
And then with a nice star and sickle on it.
That'd work.
Yeah,
a white flag with a very small, logo.
no.
So it looks like we're surrendering.
Yes. But, maybe the nice red star and sickle with a gold, yellow outline around it with a white flag that we can all wave.
And then in fine print at the bottom, it should say, this flag was made on stolen land.
But no animals were harmed in the making of this flag.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's really dumb to change a flag, but during times like this where you sort of have this sort of like weird
Cultural
kind of like
Marxism shaking over.
Communist, like sort of homosexual by proxy, like type people that act only on emotion. It doesn't surprise me. It won't last forever. These people can't win.
Well, in 5 years, they'll decide it's offensive to somebody
Right.
else.
They don't know how to fight. At some point, things will get bad enough where we'll normal people or maybe younger people will, I don't know, drag people like this by the hair out of their office someday and probably beat them to death with
with the flag.
with the very flag that they desecrated. I'm not saying that I have any plans to do that, nor does Bubs. I'm just saying that is the most likely outcome on a long enough timeline if you follow history.
in a universe that
Yeah.
we agree on, but I don't think so. I think people are too passive.
Well,
And
yeah,
then even-
right. Well, right now they are, but
Yeah.
on a long enough timeline.
Where
You know what I mean?
Where
Like-
are all these fucking 20-year-old males that are full of testosterone and ready to rip fuckers apart and don't take any shit? Nobody's a rebel anymore.
They exist. They just want to still pretend it's not happening. And here, I've
They
had
don't
this
even pay
argument with a
attention.
couple of people. There are a few people right now that are sitting in a basement doing a podcast, and I'm not even referring to us. There's other guys like us out there. There's also people who listen to us that are guys and girls who go, yeah, you know what? I'm sick of that too. There's a few of those people, but there's still a great many people out there that are decent people, that are capable, that could help fix things, that maybe have good ideas. They're angry too, but guess what? They still want to be distracted more than they want to fix something. And by distracted, I mean they want to watch that Vikings game. They want to
Check the next stream on.
They want to go out and play fucking pull tabs. They want to go out and drive their motorcycle, something like that. I sympathize with that because I have my vices too. But at some point, it'll probably become unavoidable, to the point where the common guy has to go, you know what? It's time for me to sacrifice safety. It's time for me to sacrifice finance in order to preserve myself. I think that's on a long enough timeline. That's what happens no matter what universe you're in.
Well, there must be some culture out there or some movement or some group of people. Now, and I'm not saying like white supremacists, but I'm talking about, and not posse comitatus, but your 20-year-old, your 17-year-old, your 25-year-old that says fuck the system, right? I mean, it was pretty popular for me growing up. Nobody, you weren't like,
yeah, but it was
there was not a lot of Reaganites when you were 20.
No, but you've got to remember when you were growing up, 15 years before that is when kind of like the first sort of cultural revolution that we know it in the modern era started.
Yeah, but
during
those
the
people,
60s.
those people became
That was
the
still very
establishment.
they're the establishment right now.
Right now,
and now
they're
they
the
won't
establishment.
fucking leave.
No, they will not. They'll hang on with their
Right.
fucking 80-year-old hands, and the boomers
Right.
will not move over.
No, and at some point, I do think that
They're just going to die off.
but some of them are going to be vanquished by the very sort of cultural revolutionaries that they once fancied themselves
Sure,
as.
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I firmly believe that. And I think we're probably close to that within a few years, but it's just going to take time. In the meantime, do what's right.
It's funny how you become the evil that you rail against.
Yeah. Well, you die the hero or you live long enough to become the enemy, I guess, as they say in one of those Spider-Man or fucking Batman movies.
Well,
Dude,
you read Animal Farm, right?
Orwell?
Yeah, the pigs rise up, the farm rises up, they kick the farmer out, and then at the end of the story, the pigs are now human.
And the cycle
and
repeats
corrupt.
itself eventually,
Yep.
Yeah. It has to happen every few generations.
Human
it's just
nature.
That,
Isn't it every 80 years, like these they call it the turning or something, the fourth
Probably,
turning?
yeah.
You ever look into that?
Yes. I mean, I've seen the sort of cyclical diagrams and memes and things like that. I've never really read
Where you have economic issues, war issues all kind of coming
Right.
together.
affluence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last big one was World War II.
And then, we were
World War
extremely
I and World War
affluent,
II. Yeah.
From 1950 or 1948 probably through, I don't know, 1988. Yeah, you had a period of extreme affluence.
I would even say into the 90s.
Maybe. But boy, as a young guy, I remember that's the first kind of tastes of weirdness that I look back on. And I remember when I was of that age, they were always pushing like AIDS.
Pushing everybody AIDS.
Like,
AIDS,
no,
AIDS.
you have to be worried about AIDS.
Well, that was
like
fucking-
even young people like me, young heterosexuals, they were like, you got to use, condom, AIDS.
Try being 16 in 1986.
Well, I mean,
You thought your dick was going to explode.
yeah,
like
no,
Eddie Murphy said.
I agree. Like, I wasn't that far. We weren't that far off. You know what I mean? And
Can you get it from a toilet seat?
Yeah. Then in '86, they still had no fucking idea how. They thought maybe shaking hands would have done it or
Yeah.
something.
Well, no, they were shaking dicks.
In my era, they knew exactly how it was you got it, but then they lied right to our faces and
Yeah.
said it's going to affect heterosexuals too. Yeah, I don't know. They fool people, and
Guess who was in charge
I
of all
think
that?
since the late 80s, things have been.
Who was the
people have
lead
been
researcher
fooled.
on all that? The guy that was the
Probably
spokesman?
Tony Fauci.
Yeah, he was. And he said the exact same quotes back then that he used with COVID.
That guy's a goofball.
Yeah, that's the first one that should be strung up.
I
He's
mean,
responsible for the death of hundreds of thousands of Americans.
Yeah.
Or at least
There's a couple
thousands.
of other people that I'd like to see near him on the lamp post.
Yeah, but he would be a good symbolic one right away, because then that would pull out the rug from underneath their fucking bullshit.
Think bigger.
Bigger?
Yeah. I'm going to come up with my own deck of cards, kind of like they had during the invasion of Iraq.
Yeah.
Where Saddam was,
Ace of spades.
Bin Laden, I believe, was the ace of spades.
Okay.
So I'm looking at some of these flag designs.
Yeah. Let's get back to flags and away from...
Yeah. Enough of that. It's out of our control at the moment. But a lot of these kind of look like a compass star thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't look particularly impressive. I kind of like the other flag with, the
Farmer, pioneer.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. You know what I mean? It looks old school with the seal.
Somebody was complaining that the new flags need to tell a story and reflect the history. And then all of a sudden, well, what was the one you're replacing?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Fuck.
I'm sure, no matter who it's going to be, it'll find a way to probably shit on white people in some way.
Yeah, even though, what is the state? Probably 85%.
And that'll never come back. Yeah, that'll never, ever come back and bite them in the ass. That will never come back and bite them in the ass. Never.
No, not at all.
Never. Those people will not hold any resentment. They won't. They're just going to forget about it, change their ways, and then go about their day.
Yeah.
Well, back then, hockey was.
It wasn't
in
what
the
it
early,
was.
Yeah, it was untouched by.
Well, you had to be a fan.
You know what they've been doing now is some of the players. They were forcing a lot of players over the last couple of years to wear gay jerseys.
Yeah, and they said no. Some of them.
Well, they eventually all said no.
Yeah.
And it's no longer a thing. It mainly was, I think, when they were doing their quote-unquote warm-up skate.
To have a gay thing on your...
Yeah, to have
the rainbow flag or something?
Well, I guess they would wear a different sweater during the warm-ups. And it would be, in the trans color scheme, or there would be a gay flag on it or something like that.
And then they could auction them off.
Probably. Money was behind it some way, in way, shape, or another. And I have a theory about what happened there. One of my buddies is a big NHL fan. And he kind of was saying, here's the, a lot of the players are from European countries. Some of them aren't as progressive as the United States, I guess, maybe so to speak. These guys would fly back to their home country and they'd be like, hey, you were wearing, homosexual attire. That's punishable by, 60 years in the gulag or something like that. So they were kind of at this dilemma. These players didn't want to, go back to prison once they went into their country. So they had a beef. And that's, I think, kind of why they stopped doing it, at least on paper, saying, hey, we're not doing this anymore. We just want to play hockey, which I understand. But the reason for me, it was nothing more than a humiliation ritual, which is very popular in China under Mao.
Well, it's popular in everything that you see.
It's extremely popular in Canada, too.
Well, it's popular in Hollywood.
Where does hockey originate, kind of? Or, they have a massive presence in Canada, obviously, especially.
It originated in the state of Minnesota because we are the state of hockey.
Right. Well, what I mean is there's several teams and NHL teams in Canada.
Yeah.
Canada engages in massive humiliation rituals. They engage of genocide of their own people. That is not an exaggeration. Look into it. In Canada, you can walk into your doctor's office and say, hey, I'm not feeling well. And within a few more steps in terms of
you're on a train.
In a few more steps in the conversation, a few more boxes get checked, and that physician at that point is going to float the idea of euthanasia.
So you're sitting in the lobby filling out your iPad check-in thing, and you just put a couple. Well, I'm kind of down. The sun hasn't been out for a while.
Yeah.
Well,
Have you considered killing yourself?
Here's a pamphlet to read.
Right. And they're not going to step them into a train, Bubs. You know, they won't need to at that point. They're just going to walk them into a suicide booth. And there's going to be those littered all over the place in Canada. But anyways, I digress. The jerseys, in my opinion, were nothing more than a humiliation ritual.
I'm going to tell you
there's one reason why.
Who influenced
Who plays hockey, Bubs? White men, for the most part.
Well, yeah.
There's some people that aren't white that play hockey.
Well, there's some Canadians.
A few.
Yeah.
A few. And what better place to come in and humiliate than the NHL? That's what those jerseys were for.
A game where white men fight each other sometimes.
Right. They want to take that out, too.
Yeah.
The moms do.
The moms.
The hockey moms that are raising kids right now, they want that gone.
Fighting.
From the NHL, yeah. Yeah,
they're
big time.
They're stupid.
It's setting bad, influence for their kids. It has no place in the sport, blah, 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 blah. Put on a gay fucking jersey, yada, yada. It's a humiliation
Well, then we need more moms
ritual.
playing hockey. More girls should be playing hockey and fighting each other.
Buddy.
But you know who's influencing the NHL more than anything that you haven't touched
China.
on? Nope.
Gays.
Nope.
Who else?
Well, I'm looking at you right now in an Adidas black and white tracksuit.
Yeah, this is what I wear.
Russian mob.
You think so, huh? Yeah, I suppose they do.
Oh, huge.
I mean,
As
from a
soon as
gambling perspective, probably.
Influencing on players who go where they're...
Well, yeah, but they're not trying to get players to wear homosexual attire and
No.
subvert someone's
I'm going to tell
culture.
you that they just said, you ain't putting that shit on.
It's about money for them.
Igor, you nowhere patch.
I'm about to move to Russia, dude, I swear.
Probably be great.
I bet it would.
I don't know, though. You know, like
they'd hate me for 10 years until I could finally blend in with the
well,
language.
speak the language. Yeah.
Right. But I mean,
vodka and sausage.
It'd be worth it. Seems you ever watch the miniseries Chernobyl?
I have not watched that, no.
Even though it's a very bleak topic, sometimes I look at it and go,
Wasn't that in Ukraine?
Looks a little better than here.
It was in Ukraine. 86 in Ukraine?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're in the process of decommissioning that reactor now.
Well, yeah.
A lot of people don't realize this, but
they just built a fucking sarcophagus or whatever. What do they call that?
The new confinement enclosure thing that basically fit over the old cement sarcophagus.
Yeah, sarcophagus. Yeah, there you go.
What a lot of people don't realize is, one of the reactors blew up in Chernobyl in Ukraine in 1986.
Yeah.
I believe there were 4 reactors in that facility. The other 3 kept right on operating with people working.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So it's not like
the state comes first.
Yeah, there were areas there that, yes, you absolutely could not walk towards, but the place has bounced back, biologically.
Well, to an extent.
The only reason they're decommissioning the reactors now is because Russia's gotten all Ukraine has gotten all the use they can get out of it. And it was
who has it right now? Who's in control of it right now?
I believe Ukraine. I can't remember. I know Russia was in control of it, but I think they abandoned it.
Okay.
I think they realized it didn't really have much value. Same with when they destroyed that. They destroyed the largest airplane in the world. It was called the Antonov AN something.
Yes.
They only had one of them, and it was a Ukrainian aircraft. It was actually parked for a week at the Minneapolis airport once a few years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was just sitting there. Nobody really knew why. I mean, I'm betting some oligarch went down to the Mayo Clinic or something like that.
Hey, let's take the biggest plane in the world.
Let's get in here, Ivan.
Put on tracksuit. I like party. You like party? Let's go party with Prince.
I like wearing a tracksuit, Bubs.
You look good in it.
I intend to maybe go roll some craps later at Grand Casino.
The professor
yeah,
was stationed in Romania, and he embraced the tracksuit fully. And the Slavic squat.
The Slavic squat.
Yeah. He had that down. There's pictures of him with a cigarette hanging out of his broken tooth.
Yeah.
Wearing a tracksuit.
Like a true Slav.
Next to some graffiti. On a graffiti-laden
Something,
wall.
Yeah.
It looked like an
Looking
album
like
cover.
The Berlin Wall, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good. No, he embraced it. That was an idea for our deer camp, that we were all going to wear tracksuits.
I wear them I wear them frequently.
Sit around wearing tracksuits. Everybody got a different color, like baby blue, white, yellow.
Yeah.
And then, then go out and greet locals as a group.
Well, yeah, I'm sure no one would be intimidated or think that you guys are weird or anything like that if you
Let them think.
saw them up in Hibbing like
As
that.
long as they fear. Let them hate. Let them hate as long as they fear.
I wear the tracksuit quite often. I like to, be perceived in a certain way as that of a meatball eating, greasy sort of bookmaking. The only thing I'm missing is my gold chain right now.
A pinky ring.
And that, yeah.
And a fucking smoke.
Yeah, I don't need that right now.
Maybe like
I said, those
Belushi's,
things, they scare me.
Remember Belushi's bit on Saturday Night Live where he was the Olympic champion? And
With
then he's
the little chocolate donuts.
little
one?
chocolate donuts, and they show him he's actually sprinting.
Yeah.
And then he's smoking a cigarette while eating little chocolate donuts.
That's my regiment. That's
Yeah.
my training regimen.
It's good.
How's it going with yours, by the way?
I'm getting ripped.
Yeah?
I think
Sticking
so.
to it?
Well, I'm 53, so I don't know how ripped a 53-year-old can get
Sticking
without
to the keto.
chemicals.
Sticking to keto.
Yeah, hell yeah, 100%. I'm past the little keto flu.
You're in it.
Yeah. The other day, I didn't even eat for like 18, 19 hours. I'm like, fuck, I got to eat something.
You did a fast, huh?
Not intentionally. Just never got hungry.
But you're feeling good.
Yeah. Sleeping
Man,
better.
I can tell you're feeling better than me, too.
Lost already a couple pounds since last time we talked.
I know you want to do a big marathon show today, too. And
Yeah, we're going to do it.
I mean, yeah, I'll do it.
I've had maybe 4.5 hours of sleep last night.
I didn't have much either.
No.
Dart tournament last night.
But mine wasn't laced with alcohol.
I didn't have too much to drink.
Okay. Little herb.
Tiny bit, yeah. Tiny bit. I recently switched my drink of choice, I guess I would call it. I changed up my kind of typical bar drink.
Is this a new dart regimen for you?
It's more, I think, just getting older and stomach-related issues.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the club, brother.
I texted this last night with the Beesh.
Yeah.
I said, hey, I had to change up my drink recently from Jameson. I used to just drink Jameson neat to Jägermeister on the rocks.
Well, I don't know what that's doing for you. Is it medicinal?
Jameson was just killing my stomach. The heartburn was insane. And I tried switching a couple different whiskeys, same thing. Jägermeister, though a lot of people don't know this, is what's known as a digestif.
Yeah.
You go out and you get a nice steak dinner, big meal with some potatoes and sides. Maybe you have some dessert. Leonese potatoes. Maybe mashed potatoes loaded. Maybe a baked potato. Then you got 10-ounce filet.
Yeah.
Green beans.
Okay. So
Maybe
you're
Brussels sprouts.
a la carte.
Washing it down with a couple glasses of wine.
Yeah.
You're going to be a full and satisfied diner at that point.
Maybe a little bead of sweat coming off the tip of the nose.
Very full.
Yes.
You're going to say afterwards, why did I eat this much? Well, I can tell you a secret. After that meal, when everyone's ready to have coffee or whatever, that's when you order that double Jägermeister on the rocks.
Well, is that why people would get a coffee with, what is it, Zambuca in it? Zambuca and coffee, right?
It probably
the same
it probably is why. It's a
Yeah.
bit of a digestif.
Yep.
So it helps with the digestion. And I noticed that, if I have a couple of those and don't overdo it, I don't get heartburn or anything like that. It's really changed kind of, my vibe too.
Yeah.
Holding that type of glass and ordering that sort of thing, people, they take notice.
You know what that tells me you have?
What?
An Oxford Dictionary just released their word of the year for 2023 is Riz.
What does it mean?
R-I-Z-Z.
It has something to do with probably
Charisma.
patriarchy or something.
No, charisma.
Man, I got Riz.
You got Riz. See, when you're sitting there with your little glass of Jägermeister and you're holding it with your pinky up and the chicks, and you got your, you got your gray sweats on, you got your imprint out.
That word means nothing.
Riz. Oh, yeah. Now the fact that you and I are discussing it, the word's over.
Dude, that's just some urban word that got flung in there.
Well, it's for Oxford Dictionary to have some advertising.
As soon as a halfway, capable fascist takes over, those words won't exist anymore. Make however many new words you want right now. They're not going to exist in another 20 years.
But that's what you got with that tracksuit and your Jägermeister. The chicks are just
That'll
falling at
be
your feet.
the uniform of choice under new fascism.
Of yours.
Yes.
Who's fascism?
It's like Kevin Bacon said in JFK, fascism is coming back, man.
Yeah. One of your favorite characters.
You a nice looking man, Mr. Garrison.
I think you liked him in his little shorts.
You know what's crazy? 60 years, Bubs, was it was the anniversary, just, like not that long ago.
A couple weeks ago.
Last month, yeah.
A couple weeks ago. Are we going to sell our souls when they come for us?
Absolutely not. No.
When the rituals start?
I won't do it. Not me. They'll have to drag me kicking and screaming out of my spider hole like they did to Saddam.
Will they get us drunk with celebrity?
If they were to try to do that, I might, sort of go along with it for a week.
Would you dip a toe in it at least?
I'd dip a toe.
Just to be an observer?
Then I'd run away.
Yeah.
And smite them.
Fire and brimstone, you would rain down upon Sodom and Gomorrah.
I don't know what I would do if they tempted me with celebrity, Bubs.
What would be the temptation that you might not realize all of a sudden you're neck deep in the pool?
I don't know. I mean, if somebody said something to me like, hey, you want to come out to Vegas at like the nicest hotel for like a month and a half?
We'll do a residency.
Just be treated like, like every night we're just going to give you,
whatever you want.
$100K to gamble with and, like that type of thing. Just really live the king's thing. Yeah, like that would be a way to tempt me. We'll leave you alone, but, you can have your way of the place. If it's something like, hey, you're going to be the guest of honor at this, fuck no. No, I just want to still be invisible. But yeah, I mean, that might be a way to tempt me. Maybe. Mm. Or they could just say, hey, how'd you like a week of nobody fucking bothering you?
What is bothering you?
You're not going to have to answer any ridiculous texts about this or that. Nobody's going to, call you about this or that.
Well, just turn your fucking phone off and chillax.
You can't.
Yeah,
you got to turn it. Well, I mean, yeah, you can, but at some point you got to turn it back on.
Well, after a week, turn it back on.
That's not cool. That doesn't work in real life. You do have to turn the phone back on. You got to pay bills. You got to call people. You got to go to work, things like that.
I guess I don't.
Had a dart tournament last night.
Did you win?
No, we lost. We came close on a couple of games.
Yeah. Did you win?
Negative.
No, I don't want to hear about it then. Unless you're
last place.
Unless you're. Oh, come on, dude. What are you throwing? Fucking blunt force objects at him? Were you throwing hammers at a dart game?
My partner and I, it's both our first league. First time playing in a league.
You're not refined yet. Well, you got. I told you,
not close.
Right here, right there, against that spot, right there. I'm pointing to a wall in your studio.
You could put a dartboard.
Put a dartboard, a piece of tape on your blank concrete floor, and you should be fucking a sniper.
You totally could. And
I don't even know why you're not.
Well, I mean, the one that I want is going to cost somewhere in the $5,000 range.
What the fuck?
I want the real deal.
Just get something to throw.
No, I don't want fucking Uncle Yamaguchi's fucking Costco made in the Philippines dartboard.
Okay, go spend $500
for $69.99. That ain't gonna cut it either.
That's what Facebook Marketplace is for. Some guy's getting divorced and he needs to liquidate. That's what you.
You might be able to find a decent one for I want a bar dartboard that'll stand up to the torture that is my basement. You've been down here. You've spent time down here.
I've been in your basement tortured.
Got to have the real deal.
Well, okay.
And I'm still trying to pay things off.
Man, you just got to throw. It's like shooting. You just got to put rounds down range. You got to put darts
recently
down range.
paid off my lawn tractor.
Yeah, well, that's great.
And that's a big piece of equipment, too. It's not.
And you got those proceeds through gambling.
Yeah. It's not some fucking lawn boy.
No, you got the fucking John Deere.
The real one.
Yeah.
Got the real. This thing can kill you if you don't know how to fucking operate it properly.
Yeah. The county next to where my mom grew up, that's where John Deere's from. That's where they were invented.
No kidding.
Down in northern Illinois.
Man, they had a real lawsuit going with farmers and shit last year that finally got resolved. Made me really dislike the company. John Deere was saying that these guys couldn't fix their own fucking tractors. They're like, no, you got to send it to us because it's all the software. You guys can't fuck with it. They're like, fuck the hell, we can't. Why? First of all, why is my tractor also doubling as a computer? Well, we've got to know the weather. No, you don't. How do I? What is a tractor? 2 big fucking tires, 2 smaller ones, a bunch of torque, and a 540 PTO that spins in the back, right?
Yeah, keep your hand away from it.
Right. I think they forgot what this fucking thing was, and they turned it into some...
Well, they got snowblowers, they got lawnmowers,
Yeah,
they got
whatever.
weed whippers, they got fucking
A man
probably
should be able
suck-off machines.
A man should be able to fix his own gear.
Yeah, fuck them. You're right.
And thankfully, the government made the right call here, the court system.
Yeah.
Of which...
Well, they're probably trying to generate profit, overcharge for parts, all that shit, exclusive rights.
How's your coffee this morning?
It's gone, man. I'm jonesing for more.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a fiend. I'm a coffee fiend.
I've got a little bit left, but it's really talking to me this morning.
Like you're turtling?
I wouldn't say I'm turtling, but
Gurgling?
that'll happen at some point within the next hour to hour and a half.
You just give me the nod, and, we'll take a break.
I'll be good.
Yeah.
I might even shit my pants.
Well, I'm not changing you. I don't care how demented you are.
The podcast must live on.
Yes,
and,
change me.
I don't want to miss a gem of comedy.
You know what? Like my...
so I'm going to sit here.
One of my
red in
Polish
the
relatives from Chicago would always talk to the grandboys and grandkids and say, "You go be a good boy, make empty." And I use that on my kids. Were you a good boy today? Did you make empty?
You ever notice that the older you get, the more like you think that taking a dump will cure everything?
It does.
I've noticed that the older you get, like I got a headache. Hey, why don't you go take a shit? You know what the best recipe for it is?
What, a BM?
Yep.
No, I don't know. Where are we going at? What? Give me somewhere to stand on so I know what you're talking about.
If you're in a real health kick, first of all, that helps. But a good regimen, you need to be on it for at least a week of a solid tablespoon and a half a day of Metamucil.
Oh.
I mean, it's
that's a fibrous
It's the real
thing.
deal, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I've had a colonoscopy. I mean, I did that regimen,
well,
24
that
hours.
they just give you like the Miralax, where it just everything comes out.
You get the cold sweats.
The Metamucil is more of a fiber, from like a cereal grain or something like that, psyllium husk or something.
And that puts you on a predictable schedule, doesn't it?
Yep. And not only that, I'm telling you, dude, give it a week. Wake up in the morning. If you're an afternoon person or whatever, just try to take it at the same time every day. But get yourself into it for a week. And all you got to do is get that glass of water, a decent sized glass of water, and mix in about a large tablespoon and a half of Metamucil. Whether you go orange, for me, I'm an unflavored guy. The coarse ground, I like it.
Are you doing this every day?
I'm not right now, but I will again.
Are you stopped
yeah,
up?
well, no, I just, sometimes
Irregular.
I come and go on these things.
Okay.
But I've done this many times.
I've never done it.
1 week. And by that end of the week, you will be taking the most immaculate, solid,
picture perfect. Well, that's based on
leaving them
volume,
leaving them in the toilet, and every one of them, Bubs, is going to be a no wiper.
Oh, just smooth.
When it's going to come out of you literally like shit through a goose, and when you wipe, you could use that toilet paper in your hand
to blow your nose
as a napkin afterwards, as a dinner napkin afterwards.
Okay.
There's nothing on it.
Wow.
Nothing. That's what Metamucil can do to a man, or would guess a woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's after the show. I'm back on the train. Let's put it that way. Next show we have when we meet again in a few days. I'll give you an update on progress. I'm not going to take photos of it because I'm not a degenerate piece of crap.
Wait.
What?
We're both degenerates.
Well, a little bit, but I'm not going to photograph that. I don't have that type of fetish.
All right.
But I will give you an update of what's happening.
You're not going to shit on a clear plate and send it to me?
No, I won't do that.
Not again?
No. With a salad fork next to it. No, I will. I refuse to do that. But I will tell you, hey, here's what I'm up to. I'm feeling 10 pounds lighter, blah, 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 blah.
Because
that's what happens. I'm dead serious, man. That you get on the Metamucil train.
Yeah, but isn't it just that fiber you're putting in your body? I mean, what's the point?
It is, but
it's
working.
Yeah.
Listen, it's there for a reason.
What is?
That stuff is, there's a reason they keep selling tubs and tubs and tubs of it at every single store. It works.
Okay.
And
I don't have a
you
problem.
will save money on toilet paper.
If I get into the Tillamook cheddar cheese heavily, maybe I'm a little stopped. I'm like a big mouse.
This will work.
Yeah.
Now, it's not one of these things where, oh, I'm suffering. I got to get something. This has to come out of me now. I haven't taken a crap in days and days and days. It's not that. You got to give it about a good 20 hours to sort of get into your system.
Do you recall, and this is years ago, I talked to you on the phone in the middle of Ohio when I was traveling with young children, and one of my children was a little loose with the stool, and we had to keep stopping.
Maybe.
And your advice to me was, get that kid some mini donuts to stop him up.
Yeah. Did it work?
I don't know.
Who knows?
I
huh?
probably gave him some, and
Yeah.
we're not stopping for a while. That was your advice.
Donuts will do it to me, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love donuts too, but yeah,
But you talked about those like off-brand
They'll put
chocolate
yeah.
mini donut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mickey cakes.
Stop that kid up right away.
The cheaper the better brand.
Yep.
Yeah. Whatever the in-house brand is at Kmart.
They'll
if
plug
it
you
still
up.
exists.
So
That
you've been
thing.
giving me shit advice for probably 16 years, 17 years.
Yeah. And I don't even have kids, and I just figured, hey, maybe that sounds like an idea for me. The only other thing I would say was give him a handful of Percocet, but that might not. He might not come back from that one.
I'm not abducting my own kid.
Right. Because those pain pills. You ever have them for like after a surgery or something?
Oh yeah,
dude, those will turn me to cement on the spot.
Yeah.
On the spot.
You got to go with the stool softener
Yeah.
regimen that you work in with your pills.
For as kind of relaxing as some of those pills can be, I don't know if it's worth the side effect for me.
No, I've had some battles.
You know what I mean?
Post-surgery.
Right.
Yeah, you get behind.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's not worth. It's like shitting out that fucking paper towel roll that you have right there.
5 days without a dump is not good.
No, that's
like you feel different as a human being.
Yeah, you work shifts too. When
And
you
then
work
it's
fucked up shifts.
right.
It fucks up your bile rhythms
Yeah.
and your circadian rhythms and your shit rhythms.
Yeah, I don't like it.
No, I like a nice shitstorm every morning, predictable within an hour.
Yeah, I'm close to being on that, although the last month I have been working a lot of nights and things did get a little messed up. But after switching to Jägermeister from Jameson, that really changed my life, From a health perspective, Bubs, I feel like a Jack LaLanne of health now.
Well, it's an elixir that you're
Yeah.
taking advantage of. It's like what was that fucking brand everybody bought in the 80s and 90s? Herbalife.
Herbalife. Yeah.
Herbalife. Yeah,
And
Jägermeister
all
Life.
it was like
Jager Life.
that stuff was like speed. It was like
Yeah.
remember what Ripped Fuel was?
Oh yeah.
Or remember Zenadrin back in the day?
Some bumblebees. Let's get.
Remember everybody
Yeah, everybody.
everybody would take them.
Yeah, it's 30 below out, and
Yeah.
you got the windows down.
Sweating like a
Yeah. Well, it's more like Liberace
but-
at a fucking
yeah.
swim meet.
But that Herbalife stuff was it was that the ingredients were basically that.
Yeah.
So
Amped up the
you
system.
would lose weight.
Thermogenics,
Yeah.
thermogenes, or what is it? Something like
Thermogenic, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it would
Thermogenic
it
response.
would kill your appetite, and then it would raise your
Yeah.
heart rate and blood pressure.
and then throw a big Copenhagen on top of that, and a Monster.
after working out,
Yeah.
lifting with the guys.
I wonder why people just fell over, or had to be rushed to the hospital in a ambulance. Because it's normal for a 35-year-old to have a heart attack.
Herbalife. I wonder if they still. That was like a pyramid type, like multi-level marketing thing too,
Tupperware.
wasn't it? Yeah. They still do that.
Direct home sales type
I wonder
thing.
if they still do that shit.
I bet it's around in some fashion or another.
Yeah.
They've probably evolved.
Ripped Fuel, man. That stuff was. Stuff was good.
Borderline.
It's too bad that the boomers had to take everything away.
They take everything away.
Right. Even though they were the people. Oh, but don't you?
Smoking, cigars. Now they want to close a cigar shop in Minneapolis.
I want to see that generation meet their fucking.
They've ruined this country.
They've ruined everything.
Yeah.
And they've done their entire life. They've done nothing but reap the benefits of, everything else, and sort of just to hell with you.
Well, they're
it's
the
all
me
about
generation, right? Isn't that what they were claimed? Before they were boomers, it was the me generation. Because they're all about themselves, and it's sickening.
Once we take over in a couple more years, what do you think of this idea, Bubs? Let me know if I'm onto something. What if we just close every sort of assisted living facility on a certain day and just say, you know what, that's it. It's every man and woman for themselves. If you want to, we'll send this Indian guide. We'll hire some guys from, Mille Lacs and stuff like that who will say, like, this is the old way of how we did things. When you reach a certain age, you travel into the woods with this flask of wine and let the animals consume you.
Well, you would go to the wood line in a blanket.
Right.
And today is a good day to die.
That's it.
Yep. Meet your maker.
I think that maybe that's the...
Well, these boomers are
that's the finality that they've earned.
Just look at the politics throughout the country, and then on a national level, these boomers will not let go. You got an 82...
The Pelosi's, the McConnells.
Well, I guess...
Yeah.
Well, Biden's just before boomer generation.
He's a boomer.
A couple years before.
Close. He counts.
Yeah. But he's old. He
old looks
men.
And seems a lot older than he is.
Even Trump, old. They're old people. We need young blood in there. Granted, Trump's a disruptor, but he's a billionaire old guy. Yeah, he's for the people, maybe, but
they need us. They need us in there.
Yeah, you need some young blood. You need some 45-year-olds in there fucking tearing it up. They got some fucking principles.
I got some ideas.
Yeah.
A couple of real...
well, we got ideas.
A couple of real humdingers.
I think what you have to do is have the responsibility to know that you're going to implement some programs, but then know when to pull them back.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just...
Yep. Yeah.
Not just... Let's burn it down.
I'll have a plan of when we pull it back.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll write that down about when these ideas will
after
eventually
you're
go away.
6 months straight in Vegas.
Yeah.
The White House has moved.
Right. No, I agree too, Bubs. The boomers need to go. A few other things need to go as well. But let's start where we
But watch TV and look at all the medical fucking commercials there are. All the fucking just endless shit.
Trying to keep them alive so they can keep that pension money.
Now they got fucking commercials for the fucking spike. Get your spike jab.
What's that?
By Moderna.
Is that a new vaccine or something?
Well, it's their version. They were out there competing with Pfizer, so they got their spike jab fucking bullshit.
Well, they have old people now so terrified that they're going to die of COVID. Is it kind of like a new thing or something?
No, it's just that now it's being marketed. And now they have medicines to fight off the swollen heart problems.
Really?
Yes.
That's convenient.
Yeah.
I don't pay any
attention
attention
to this. So we created
to
this
shit
problem,
anymore.
And now we're going to fix your problem that we created for you.
I heard that the military is like trying to get people to go back into the military who they kicked out for not taking the vaccine.
Yeah, that's how desperate they are. But they can't get people to sign up on numbers that they need anymore.
I would do it just so I could get back in, and as soon as I was back in with the boys, just so I could throw that fucking hand grenade in my CO's tent, who was the one who kicked me out in the first place.
Yeah, that fucking battalion commander.
Yeah.
Just as soon as boots on the ground, your rifle goes off and he's a casualty.
I believe back in the I believe back in the 60s era, they referred to that as fragging.
Frag. Frag a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would be they would use a grenade to commit homicide against one of their own people who was putting themselves and their own men at risk. And the grenade would serve the purpose of basically removing all the evidence. It was very, very hard to prove, who or what
happened.
Shot Lieutenant Dan. Or whoever.
Well, come on. Lieutenant Dan was
he was good. Yeah.
He's a movie character, but yeah.
Lieutenant Sobel.
Sure. Is that the one from... what was
Band of Brothers?
Yeah, he should have been strung.
That guy was real, and I get that maybe that guy wasn't probably the best officer at some point, even though a lot of the people I think under his command said he at least got us trained properly.
Yep.
Man, that guy, I bet his whole family is, lives in shame, kind of. You know what I mean? Because that guy wasn't portrayed in a very good light in that show, and I think he ended up killing himself at some point.
I don't know.
It's he tried to shoot himself in the head, and he survived.
Oh,
and he
couldn't even do that right.
Right, all he did was make himself blind.
Oh man,
and then died in a home with nobody knowing where he was. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Well,
did he ever see combat?
I don't know.
He must have.
I'm not really sure.
Or was he an administrator?
I think they got him over there, and they realized that he just wasn't that great, maybe in charge of men, so they probably put him in some type of, administrative thing or something.
Well, it's interesting is Eisenhower and when he was running that show over there, they would take generals and just move them around or pull them out because they didn't like how it was going for the 30 days. So it was fine. It was like, you're not in trouble. We just need to move you somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that mentality fell apart after Korea. And then in Vietnam, you had generals that were just entrenched, and then they became political animals.
Yeah. Well, and here
and
we are.
Now we're reaping the benefits of that bullshit.
Yes.
We're in a theater of war. Eisenhower wasn't afraid to move these guys around.
Right.
And say, oh, you know what? Hey, you're going over here. We need you here now.
I need you here now.
I need you stateside now.
Right.
But you can rotate back in.
Right. For now, I need you to do this.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Me and my guys.
Yeah.
Get the fuck over here, goddammit.
Yeah.
You're only in here for a few years. I tell you what to do for now. When you're in my position, you can tell me what to do. But you're not.
I don't know. Well,
I don't know either, man. I was never in the service, so I can't comment too hard about it. The only thing I can say is that as a taxpayer, I guess I have
there are all
some
kinds.
sort of,
There's
right.
all kinds.
Yeah.
Like in any type of thing where there's leadership, whether you work in an office with cubicles and you have multiple layers of hierarchy, like in the movie Office Space, and you have all these fucks telling you what to do. But, there's people that get along. Some people have it, some people don't. They can lead, they can't. Some are administrators, some are leaders.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the most recent documentary that came out on the Fall of Minneapolis and the riots in 2020. Obviously, there's selfish leaders, there's liars, there's fucking people who are all only about their own game.
Yeah.
And then there's leaders on the ground that dealt with what was going on.
I bet. I've had a lot of people bring that movie up to me, and I'm sure it's extremely well made. I haven't seen it though myself. I don't know. I might watch it. We'll see.
Yeah, I think I'm going to watch it. I'll watch it in bits
someday.
It's close to home when you grew up there and worked in the city and you're familiar with it.
I feel like I have a pretty good inkling of why it fell apart and how it fell apart.
But what my point is, it's about leadership.
Yeah.
And it was a vacuum.
Yeah.
And then the people that were vocal that you saw on TV were all about themselves or all about a cause that they placated to a minority.
Sure.
And then they treat the minority that they're placating to like they're a subhuman.
Yeah.
So they're the Democratic Party, the Democratic leadership, the Marxist leaders look at minorities as subhuman.
Completely.
Which is disgusting, but they do. Because they can't.
That's how they look at them, but then they speak of them as almost a deity.
A deity, a martyr.
Right.
But yet, at the same time, all their policies reflect that they are subhuman, where, they're just like us.
I think it's great that, some people put pen to paper kind of. In this case,
Liz Collins.
In this case, they, didn't necessarily pen to paper, but, video.
Well, she wrote a book called
Right.
They're Lying.
Yep. And they're showing it to the masses. I've certainly had a lot of people kind of approach me and bring the film and the book and the subject matter up to me. And I think it's great that they showed, from what I understand, how things kind of came to be. Like I said, I have a opinion or a pretty good idea, I think, of maybe how those things happened or at least how the seeds were planted.
Yeah.
What I'd like to see is a group of people who say, we know how this happened. We know why it happened. And we know who's responsible. Let's get these motherfuckers.
True.
I'd like to make a documentary about that. So if anyone wants to...
We have a movement.
If anyone wants to join up, get in the DMs on X, send me something. As long as I think, and I'm pretty sure that you're not a Fed, we'll find a way to join up. Bubs and I will put you through an intense sort of initiation and hazing process. Once we know that you're good to go, we'll start training with, PT and weapons. And at that point, we get to make our own documentary and write our own history about here's how we took Minneapolis back. That'd be interesting. That'd be a great one. And there's people out there going, I don't give a fuck. I could care what, I hope it burns down. Well, yeah, a little bit. But I had some great times in that city at one point in my life. Times that I'll never forget. I'd love to see it come back. I'd love to see strong men make that happen. So let's hope and pray for it.
Maybe.
All right, I'm off the pulpit.
Are you?
Yeah.
All right.
I have yet to see the movie. I probably will.
I've had
But
people
like I said,
I've had people that I have not talked to in a long time start reaching out because
Sure.
they watched it and they were flabbergasted.
Yeah, they were
moved.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like emotionally moved by it.
Agreed. I think I've had that same sort of kind of thing happen.
And it's people that have nothing to do with the city.
Sure.
You know, they live out in the outskirts of town and they just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's a great first movie, even though I haven't seen it yet. But like I said, I don't doubt that it's very, very well made and very effective.
Yeah.
But I want to see part 2, The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And I want to be a part of that.
I think the Empire's crumbled.
Never.
Yeah, it
Yes.
has.
Well, yeah, but, things get rebuilt.
Yeah, it does, but it could be rebuilt in a more mutated fucking version.
Good, but it could be even better. You never know.
Well, I think you got to get rid of the trifecta of House, Senate, and a governor, and then you need to the city of Minneapolis or St. Paul's, same thing. These people get elected in these little wards and are council members with 5,200 votes.
I don't believe those people are elected. I believe they're
just
installed.
selected.
Yeah,
They're not elected. They're
installed.
selected.
Yeah, and then they print enough votes,
Yeah.
and
Well, it could
whatever.
happen. Yeah, You're
But whoever prints those votes, whoever is some type of judge that presides over that area and makes rules for how elections are governed.
they need to influence them.
Well, you could influence.
When he lives out in Minnetrista, you got to cut his horse's heads off and put it in his bed with him.
You can influence them as well. There are ways to influence those people. For example, you sort of rappel into their bedroom window under cover of darkness,
Okay.
drag them out of there by their hair,
Change this.
and then string them up by their feet and dunk them into a tank of ice cold water over and over again until hypothermia is induced, and then at that point you get the answers that you want.
That's
Then
a,
you get them
a
to-
technique. A
get-
technique
yeah.
that you're promoting. Yes.
You could get that person to theoretically resign their job at that point, and maybe even appoint their successor right there on the spot.
Who you
yeah,
are.
maybe point to me.
yes.
Take over. Well, yeah, Bubs. I often dream about regime change based on those statements, but we probably won't know for another year or so. Who knows? It's going to be an interesting year. I don't know what to think of it. The elections will be interesting, though, if you want to call them that. I don't have a great deal of faith in it anymore, but I guess we'll see what happens. The
maybe
people that I want, that there's very few people that are running in any sort of capacity that sort of speak to me on values, but you never know. You got to start somewhere.
Well, maybe on a show coming up, we can do a little predictions for the year, or maybe have a couple shows where we do maybe entertainment type predictions.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. What's maybe the closer we get to the end of the year, which is a few weeks away still, we could come up with, hey, here's our predictions for 2024. Maybe each come up with 3 or 4 good ones. Write them down. We'll announce them during the show, and then even maybe put them on the screen and kind of a little graphic.
Yeah, and we can keep record and see who is more accurate.
Yeah.
Are we going to do a Deadpool?
Yeah, that'd be interesting. There's a few people, that I would love to, sort of speculate on.
I get Ozzy Osbourne.
You think he's gone in 2024, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I could see that. I don't want to give mine away just yet. I don't think I'm going to make a prediction for anyone else here this year, this December, that I could think of.
That just popped into my head.
I don't think that that's necessarily a bad call.
Yeah.
He's really abused himself. He did come out publicly this year and say that, hey, guys, I mean it. I will not be on stage anymore again. My body can't do it. I think he's got Parkinson's or something. You know what I mean? All kinds of shit.
All right. Well, okay. Yeah, we'll maybe in the next show or two we can just throw a few predictions out. We can do a Deadpool.
Well, there's another movie too that we've
Autofocus.
Yeah, that one's coming up in the future.
Yeah, we'll do
Talked about autofocus.
Because we're degenerates.
That's a great movie. You guys are going to love it.
What time is it?
It's fuck time. Probably Willem Dafoe's best role.
Oh, come on.
He was
Platoon?
pretty good. Man, I found him much more entertaining in autofocus.
Well, yeah. The guy can act.
Yeah.
He's an actor.
I mean, he's great in Platoon as Elias, but, you know, he's not much of an entity in the movie other than a few parts.
Well, he's a duality.
Yeah, I feel
The
like
Yang to
he was much more able to sink his teeth into the role of John Carpenter, closeted gay guy who
Deviant.
is, yeah.
Shares
has,
perversions.
You know, an audio-visual technical whiz of the early sort of VCR era.
Well, see, I think you and I are reviewing this movie or watching it just for you and I. Selfish purposes.
That's fine, though. That's fine. We
Yeah.
can make it entertaining.
Yeah, I don't think, you know, like Barry Lyndon is a movie that you wanted to spread the word on because nobody's heard of it.
Yeah, and there might be a few people that watch it, you know, after we've discussed it so many times, but probably not that many. Autofocus, I'm betting most of our audience has yet to even hear of it yet, if not see it. My brother's seen it. He loves it. The ones I do know who've seen it,
It's entertaining. Well, you have to be, like, my wife will watch
they're
it
enamored with it.
and will not like it.
She won't?
No.
You don't
she
think
likes
so,
Greg
huh?
Kinnear as an actor, but she won't. She'll be like, what the fuck?
Has she seen the movie or no?
I have no idea. I can't remember.
I could see her maybe liking it, but then maybe not.
She
You know
probably
what I
didn't
mean?
watch Hogan's Heroes,
Yeah.
you know.
There's some great scenes in that movie. We're going to have a good time.
This
with
is
that one.
selfish for you and I.
Yeah.
Maybe this will be our Christmas movie.
Yeah. Christmas present to ourselves.
Yeah.
We're going to review a movie we both near and dear to our hearts.
Well,
I haven't seen it for a while either, so it'll be good. I haven't seen it for probably a year.
Maybe we'll do a deep dive on Bob Crane then.
Yeah.
Look into. There's got to be some bios.
I know.
Out there on him.
I think on our next show, well, I was going to talk about. I'll give them just a little teaser, but I wanted to bring up a couple things about video games. We've touched a little bit on it. I'm going to give a few of my beefs, and then a few of my hopes and dreams for it as well.
Okay, so when you talk video games, you're talking about you sitting alone on a couch in your some sort of track outfit or something with an empty sleeve of saltines. Loading.
I don't think it. I don't.
And you're at home playing.
No, it might be like
You're not at a video. You're not at an arcade next to the pinball.
talking on like I use a PlayStation 5.
Okay.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be sad like that, like how you sort of painted it. It could be
Oh, it's joyous.
right. That one time was just. It was one night. I stayed up too late, didn't get enough sleep, and I spent money playing Magic the Gathering. I was a little sad.
I'll
about
just let you
myself.
say that out loud, and it'll
Right.
come around. Just keep saying it.
When I'm sitting down playing Red Dead Redemption 2 or something. No, I'm not
No.
sad. I'm having a
Okay.
great time.
All right.
And we'll talk
Are you
about.
playing Tran to win and his friends?
I had a few comments about that.
Did you?
That opening, yeah. Some people they enjoyed that comment about
Well,
the
it's true.
Vietnamese guy who ate his cat. Yeah. I don't know if he really did or if he didn't eat his cat. I just stereotypically thought he did because, hey, I've got a touch of stereotypical, I guess, racism in me or something.
Well, you're an ugly American.
Yeah,
You're an ugly white male American.
Guess what that guy can do who ate his cat? He can look at me and make the same type of sweeping generalization about something I do and really let me have it with both barrels, and I will take it and maybe even laugh at it because you know what? At the end of the day, we're all different people.
We should all talk shit to each other.
I think we should call each other slurs. We should,
Yes.
gamefully insult people. The more we do that, the better this country will become.
It's when you stop doing that. That person
Right.
should become nervous
Then
because
it
no one's
becomes-
paying
yeah.
attention to him.
At that point, the world starts being run by lonely women who've never been married or been dicked down decently in their entire life and have too many cats and work as a college administrator. They're now running the country, and that's you don't need that.
Let's get to
trust me.
video games.
We will on the next show.
Okay. But what's your teaser? You're just throwing out some new games
Well,
that are coming out?
I wanted
or-
to bring up a little bit about Grand Theft Auto 6 because that's been really in the news lately. If you're under the age of 40, you probably have heard about it, and maybe even older than that. And then I wanted to talk another game that they had, their most kind of recent game before that, which is now weirdly about 6 years old, called Red Dead Redemption 2. The reason I wanted to bring that up is because a coworker of mine recently started playing it. But we'll get to that on the next one. Not only that, number one, Gary, big video game fan. Huge video game fan. He's one of my best friends. I talk to him about games quite often. He's really, really into the medium. He keeps up on all the games, all the news. His games differ from mine quite a bit, but we do have a bit of a mutual respect, I think, for some of the games that each other chooses. There are some games he won't touch that I like, and there are other ones that I won't touch that he likes. One of the ones that we've kind of come together on recently, though, was Zen Pinball, which we talked a little bit about today. But no, next show we'll do a little bit of a video game type kind of special, if you know what I'm saying.
Special.
What do you got anything you're going to bring up for the next show, or what do you think?
Maybe, I don't know. I've been watching a few, shows. I had some bizarre dreams the last couple nights. I don't know.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Was Steve the plumber in it again? I can't remember who that one that you talked about that one time.
Was that on air?
You need your pipes clean. Here I am. No,
he was a nihilist.
You going to be able to remember the dreams for the next show? You got them written down? Or
I
what?
did.
Okay, good.
I journal.
Well, shortly after that, at some point, we're going to do some autofocus, and then we're going to have the math professional here soon at some point this month. So we got a big month coming up with guests, with topics, with all kinds of stuff. Don't forget to celebrate the birth of Christ, and take notes on who your bad elected officials and judges are in your small municipalities. It may come in handy someday. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
That's it? That's all you got?
Yeah. What do you got? Anything else on the way out, Bubs?
I don't know. Viva la revolution.
Well, sounds good, baby. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. We appreciate it. And we're going to see you next time on the Bubs and T Bag Show. Take care, everyone.
All right. Bubs is out.